Day 1. We are in the book of Leviticus 14, verse 8. The person to be cleansed must wash their clothes, shave off their hair, and bathe with water, that then they will be ceremonially clean. After this, they may come into the camp, but they must stay outside their tent for 7 days. Water and washing is everywhere in the Bible. And initially you talk about washing, physical washing is actually being required of by the Bible, that people wash with water to be clean. But it's also used in the New Testament as water for baptism. It's used as the way of baptism. And I think water is very, 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 very important. In fact, they say you cannot survive 3 days if you don't take any form of liquid, water at all. That means because you'll be dehydrated, within 3 days you'll be dead or something. Now, I think it's important to then meditate on this issue of water, asking yourself, do you value water the way the Bible seems to imply water is to be actually valued? Do you thank God for water? Or unless God gives you expensive drinks, you don't realize that by giving you water, He has given you life, He has given you survival. And that will be something that that you need to be aware of and keep. Day 2. So water, let's start with the water of the function of water in washing and cleansing. I think from what we are reading, if you allow water to continue to be away from you, or you separate yourself from water, you'll be dirty. You'll soon be eating with the dirty hands. In the process, germs will enter into your stomach, and you'll be a sick person, could even die. And it all came from lack of washing your hands. In fact, they say during COVID-19 experience, many diseases went down, and the doctors were crediting it to the amount of washing that people are doing, because they were told the way to deal with the disease is to keep clean, keep your hands washed, continuously washed. So I think it will be important to understand then that since we are stewards of life, and that includes our own life. That's why if you commit suicide, you are still a murderer. Although you killed yourself, you are still a murderer before God. When He says, "Thou shalt not murder," it includes murdering yourself. In the process then means that water helps you not to murder yourself by keeping you clean and keeping the germs away from your body. You are actually doing what God would expect you to do, ensuring that you do not end up with disease and don't end up sick, and therefore you are available to serve Him because you are maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So the first thing we need to talk about water is the importance of keeping clean. Day 3. So, why should you wash? How should you wash? Why is simple. Is to keep diseases away. How to do it? That is socially defined. There are places where there is little water, so they wash only their face regularly and take a long time before they can wash their whole body. There are other people with water continuously, and they can have a shower every day of their lives. In fact, not once when it's hot, more than once a day. Really, the issue is not the frequency, because that is being defined by the culture you happen to be in. But the question is simply, do you keep yourself clean, physically clean, in primary school used to be told that cleanliness is next to godliness. I don't know whether there's any theological basis for the statement, but that's what they used to tell us. Cleanliness is next to godliness. That means if you really want to exhibit a man who fears God, then even if their clothes are not expensive, they'll keep them clean. Even if they don't live in expensive houses, they'll keep their houses clean, and they themselves will be clean. And I think that will show an example of one who fears God, one who understands that his life belongs to God, and he needs to be a good steward of that life, because God will hold him accountable on how he maintained his life and whether he ended up hurting himself. I think that will be important. Day 4, water, but the water is not just used for washing, it's also for drinking. Here, the person to be cleansed must wash their clothes and shave off all their hair and bathe with water. That's what Leviticus 14 verse 8 is saying. But I'm saying water is also used for drinking. And they say if you drink less water than you should, you'll be sick. And because you are keeping yourself dehydrated, and that way you will not last for very long, and that will not be Christian. So it means that you must find a way of ensuring that anybody whom you care about has access to water, but number 2, he actually drinks adequate water. But you know, water doesn't have a taste, except if you're not very thirsty, it will be very difficult to take water. But you need to understand the usefulness of remaining dehydrated, and therefore the importance of taking water. Of course, if you are not in a meeting, there will be other ways of taking the water, and if you're in a meeting, there will be another way of, you change the way you take the water. Of course, there will be the question of why and how you do it. Day 4, I think we need to remind ourselves, even as we talk about taking water, what about using water, we need to remind ourselves that water is health, and God gave us water in order to ensure we remain healthy. But then, environmental management is causing a lot of bodies to be unhealthy, so that although you can see water there, if you take it, you'll be sick. It just means that as Christians, one of our responsibilities will be to ensure that we actually live healthy lives and protect others from lack of health by investing in the environment. Day 5. So Leviticus is saying the person to be cleansed or declared clean must wash their clothes, shave off their hair, and bathe with water. In other words, it's not just simple enough to wash your body, you must also wash your clothes, and you must also shave your hair. I don't know the theology behind shaving the hair, but obviously you can wash your body, but if you put back dirty clothes, you will not prevent diseases, you will not prevent smells, you will not be doing the right thing. And that's why we are being told it's not just enough that you wash your body. Keep your clothes clean, and make sure you are also clean shaven, because that will be something that will ensure then you are living a healthy life. Because the whole chapter, these chapters in the book of Leviticus are talking about public health, ensuring that diseases do not spread in the camp, ensuring that people, if one gets sick, all people don't actually get sick, and we start people you start seeing people die in droves. Day 6. I think it will be important to understand here there is no instructions anywhere that you must wear expensive clothes. In fact, in the New Testament, it talks about wearing modestly. That means the clothes may not be expensive, but the clothes are covering all the important parts to be covered. So, the Bible does talk about clothing. It even talks about the fact that your clothes should not make people confused as whether you are men or women. In fact, they say if a man wears female clothes, it's an abomination. It's something God cannot stand. So, that will be important. But more important in this verse is, do you keep your clothes clean? How will the priest was and the Levites were the health officers? How will the health officer tell you are clean, you can now mix with the people, if you actually have dirty clothes, even if you claim that you actually had a shower yourself? It will not be possible. It means that you must ensure not only is your body clean, your clothes are also clean. And in the process, you will keep the disease away. And because you have kept the disease away, you yourself will be healthy, the community will be healthy, they will be able to meet their economic needs, and they will be able to help one another, and society will be a better place to live. Day 7. What about this shaving? Now, Samson's hair could not be touched because that's where his strength lay as a Nazarite. That's in the book of Judges. So I think it will be important to understand hair has certain implications. Also here, some people, once there is a death, they want to cut hair as a way of communicating with the dead. In that case, a Christian cannot cut hair after people have died, because he doesn't believe we are allowed to communicate with the dead, whichever method, including shaving yourself after the death of a relative. But the other implications about shaving, I think you are likely to have more difficulty dealing with public health when people have long hair and bushy heads, bushy beards, bushy everything. It gives more room for germs and other parasites to invade you than if you had a clean shaven head and a clean shaven chin. There would be implications. But the method here is the word of God is still saying, if you really want to be regarded as somebody publicly healthy and publicly acceptable to others, then shave off all your hair. Not some hair, but all your hair. But I think the main message you should be getting out of this is simply that you must think about others. You must be other-centered. Don't live for self. If you want to live for God, it means you live for God's people. Those saved and those not saved, as long like the Good Samaritan land, it is anybody who is near you, you are responsible for them.